What happens if you're denied tenure? Stick around, let's chat about it today on this episode of Navigating Academia. What's up, Navigating Academia family? This is Dr. J. Phoenix Singh coming at you to be able to answer a valued viewer's question. Great to have you with me as always. You guys know that I love you, so before we get started, please do smash that like button. It makes sure that it gets as many eyeballs as possible on the video as we can get, as well as other videos on the channel, and it especially helps if you leave a comment below. If you love the video, if you hated it, if you're saying, Singh, listen, we gotta see you in some different outfits, this is getting ridiculous, don't worry about it, just post it below. You can give me some recommendations. In the meanwhile, though, if you're not subscribed, be sure to do so. Make sure you also hit that bell so you get notifications every time that we post new original content. So what I'm going to do today is to be able to answer a question that was asked. Guys, if you ever ask a question too, please put your first name or something that I can call you, because otherwise I got to call you by your handle and this kind of stuff. It's always best to be able to have a name for you, so I appreciate it. But it was posted on a video called "Does tenure really keep you safe?" which was another viewer question that I answered. The short answer to that one is no, it does not actually keep you safe. So make sure that you watch that video if this is something where you've always thought, hey, I'm gonna get tenured and then I can kind of chill. I'm gonna get tenure and then all of a sudden everything's gonna be fine for me. Life is gonna be so much easier, so on and so forth. There's no way that I can get fired. Be sure to watch that video. I've seen this happen so many times now. Trust me on this one, guys. I was that guy who assumed that if you got tenure, made in the shade, right? Not really the case. Not contemporary academia, especially after COVID-19. Anyway, we can talk about that in another video, but here's the topic for this one today. So, the individual who asked the question asked, "Thank you so much for the information, loved the video. Could you tell me what would happen if an assistant professor does not get tenure after about 5 years? Should they move to another university and spend another 5 years to get tenure? Thank you for your consideration." Okay, this is a great question. Honestly, guys, this is a question that it's kind of the nuclear option. People get terrified of the idea of having gotten a tenure track position, and remember from other videos that I talk about this issue of being an adjunct professor versus an assistant professor, which is really kind of a US system, assistant, associate, full professor. You go to other countries, like I was an Oxford guy, totally different system. There you're, lecturer, senior lecturer, end up moving up, and then all of a sudden you're a fellow, and then you're a reader, and then after that you're a professor. Different countries, different systems. So in this case, talking about more of a US system, but really wherever you have tenure, there's gonna be something similar, and this is what we call the tenure clock. And the tenure clock, it varies across countries, it varies even between institutions within the same country if tenure is something that is offered. But remember that only about 20% of all new positions are tenure track positions, the remainder are adjunct positions. And yes, because of COVID, the number of tenure track positions are gonna go down and not up. And a big reason for this is follow the money. It is so much cheaper to have somebody be an adjunct than it is to be able to have them on a tenure track. Again, if you guys want me to make more videos about that, about why it is that I believe that the COVID-19 pandemic is going to result in there being fewer tenure track positions available, and why it's so dangerous that now for new job seekers, that a lot of universities, it's estimated that up to 20 to 25% of all universities are going to go bust in higher ed because of the pandemic. I would not be surprised at that at all. And if that does end up happening, there will be a glut, a massive, like truly unprecedented number of individuals who have a lot of experience in terms of teaching or research or clinical work, all out there trying to find new professorial positions. And all of a sudden the competition is going to be redonkulous. Okay, if you want me to talk more about that in a separate video, post a comment below, and if you have any follow-up questions on it, let me know, and I'll chat about it in that follow-up video, okay? So, but today we're talking about if you get to the end of the tenure clock, and sometimes, yes, I definitely have friends who they've said, I don't need a full 5 years, 6 years, however many years. I don't need that full time. After 2 years, I'm gonna go for this thing. My recommendation is that if your H-index is not at least between 5 to 8, you shouldn't even go up for tenure, especially if it's not a research position, okay? If it's a teaching position, a little bit different. If it's something that's much more of a clinical program, it's different. But if it's something that involves any kind of research, 5 to 8, my opinion, assistant to associate, is the sweet spot, okay? Now, if you don't know what an H-index is, watch the video on the channel about what's an H-index, okay? 5 to 8 is the sweet spot there. Okay, so here's the deal. You get to the end of the tenure clock, you apply, and you are denied. Basically, your tenure application is rejected, okay? Denial is usually the term that they use. I think denial, maybe it sounds a little bit nicer than rejected, but you know, none of them are exactly roses here. But what's gonna happen is that depending on the institution that you're dealing with, that you're at, there are several things that could happen. The first is that you're finishing out your contract, which usually would be like the end of the year. So if tenure ends up getting rejected in January, you may have until whenever that semester is done, and then basically, you know, it's literally like vacate the premises, you're fired, right? It's not that you're gonna get tenure rejected and then like literally like get out, you know, pack your stuff and get out, right? That's not gonna happen. Sometimes, and I've seen this quite a bit, there is anywhere between it's called a terminal year, 1 year. The most I've ever seen, and it was really weird when I saw it, was 2 years, 2 terminal years, where basically you're wrapping up all your affairs, you're applying for new jobs, and then you're leaving, okay? Now, what happens when you leave? Now, there are some universities, someone who was incredibly rude on one of these, not to me, but to a person who kind of posted a question on it, on one of these stack exchanges, like academic stack exchanges, said that they had encountered a case at one of the UCs, one of the University of California, where just because you get rejected from tenure the first time doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna get ousted with the terminal year. So at the end of the day, take this with a grain of salt. This is what I'm describing, the overwhelming preponderance of programs, okay? If you're afraid that you're gonna get your tenure rejected, it's definitely something where you should take a look at your institution's protocols. Don't trust verbatim what I'm saying, but I am gonna tell you that in the US, what I am telling you is true for the overwhelming preponderance of programs, okay? So, let's keep going. Let's say that you're finishing your terminal years. You want to make sure when that's happening that you are publishing like crazy. Or if you had really poor, student evaluations, that you are getting the best student evaluations ever. Maybe you even want to also take on some adjunct positions, teaching a class here or there online, maybe even, to get more and more positive student evaluations to be able to make up for that. Sometimes it's something where it's perceived that you have not done enough in terms of professional service. See what you can do. No, it's not going to keep you at your present position, but it's something for that next position you can show that the weaknesses that the tenure committee saw in you that resulted in your denial are things that you've really been working on addressing. You don't want to literally just leave this position and then say, oh, okay, who else will take me, right? That's not a good idea. So it's something that's important that you really get ahead of this thing and make sure that you're trying to kind of fill any of those holes, okay, that you kind of, were found to have, all right? Now, this position also that I'm saying here is very different than, let's say that you're already tenured and you're going from, let's say, associate professor to full professor. I've known people who, very unfortunately, that happened. They got denied that promotion from associate to full professor. If you're interested in finding out possibly why that may be, ways to get around it, etc., again, post in the comments below. More upvotes I get on it. If you go through the questions on any of my videos and you like that video, that question that somebody else has posed, I'm much more likely to make a video response on it, okay? So that's the deal there. Okay, so terminal years, if you get them, that's what you need to be doing as much as possible. You're not gonna go scurrying back and trying to, if you're a university, most don't have any policies that say that you can try it again. If it is, then definitely take the feedback and give it a shot again, but that's not normal at all, okay? Usually you want to be applying for new jobs. This is going to be incredibly stressful. A lot of people even change entire careers when this ends up happening. I definitely know a few people where this has happened. Usually there were certain circumstances in their lives that happened that basically took them away. Maybe it was something like bereavement in the family, or they had several children at once. They didn't expect it. They thought they were going to have one. Say they have triplets, and it's just so hard for them to manage everything, especially on a professor and assistant professor salary. What are they going to do? things happen, life happens, okay? Oftentimes, those individuals do not just go straight into other tenure track positions, because other tenure track positions, they're looking for somebody who doesn't have that baggage. And I'm sorry, it is a lot of baggage if you've been denied tenure, like a tremendous amount of baggage, especially if it's something where it just happened and you haven't done anything in between, okay? Now, I'm sure just for saying that, I'm gonna get like 50% downvotes on this video, which is fine, because remember, if you hate the video, it's still engagement, so I appreciate it. It's gonna help the channel, so give me those downvotes, that's fine. So, at the end of the day here, guys, it's an unfortunate circumstance. I would love to say that I had a lot of guidance on this. For better or worse, I haven't been in the position myself. There are people who, you know me on this channel, I'm a huge believer in talking about challenges that I've had, obstacles that I've faced, and my own personal failures. And so please do, if you've had this experience, feel free to share your experience below. There's so many great individuals who have written things like blog posts and, you know, columns and these things about this having happened to them. And God bless those people, really, for sharing their story. It is important work. Really, it's important stuff to be sharing those stories. One that I would recommend, because it's online, it's for free, it's from a reputable source, is Nature, the journal Nature. There's an article on there. If you just Google this, it's tenure denial, comma, and how early career researchers can survive it. Okay, I'll say it again. Tenure denial, comma, and how early career researchers can survive it. And it's published in Nature. I want you to go ahead and I want you to read through that. The right thing to do in a situation like this, let's say that you're a dean or you're a department chair, if you get an inkling that somebody is going to be rejected for tenure and they do not have to go up yet for tenure, you should approach that person and let them know this probably isn't going to go well. You probably want to withdraw your application if possible. Okay? That's a good thing to do. And let them know, if you can, potential reasons why that would be. That's a good thing to do. Sometimes, I'm going to be real honest with you, certain faculty members are a royal pain in the... like a royal pain, okay? And when that happens, rejecting tenure is one way to get them out of the department, all right? And that's really unfortunate. You may be a perfectly lovely person, but your personality does not jive, or your work ethic does not jive, or with everybody else in the department. People may be looking for a way to oust you, okay? You should just know that that's a thing. Academia is a blood sport. If you have not watched other videos that I've posted on this channel, I recommend that you do so. If this is the first video of mine or one of the first few that you're watching, I have an entire video called, it's called something like Academia as Blood Sport. Oh man, I remember when I posted that video, I got like emails from people being so upset, telling me it's like, blood sport, you know, what an inappropriate thing to say. But those of you who have been in academia long enough, you know how crazy the infighting is and this kind of stuff and how petty people can be. So, you know, if you think Keeping Up with the Kardashians is crazy, try academia and you'll see what I'm talking about. Alright guys, that's what I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching. As always, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that bell so you get notifications when we post new original content, smash that like button or that dislike button, also cool, and share this link with your friends, colleagues, and students. If you want to do one-on-one consultation sessions with me, for me to be your personal mentor, to be able to help you get publications, get into your target graduate school programs, get that dream postdoc, and make sure that you don't get denied tenure, please do make sure that you get in touch with me via the website below, which is www.jphoenixsing.com, where you can find my rates for hourly consultation and book one or more sessions with me. At the same time, if you're interested in the most comprehensive guide ever developed in terms of how to publish peer-reviewed research in high-impact journals step by step, how to be able to find grants, get them successfully by writing winning proposals, and subsequently also managing them once you've won them, and many other skill sets, check out Publication Academy, which is at www.publicationacademy.com. All right, guys, wishing you a great rest of the day. Don't forget to get out there, take chances, and be your best self. Peace. Thank you so much for stopping by, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you here as always. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more in this series on navigating academia, please click on one of these links over here to be able to view more original content. I hope to see you there.